Hello everyone. In this lecture, we will discuss about confusing words in spite of, despite, though, although, and even though. Some students find it difficult while using these words in sentences. So, let's begin. In spite of, despite, though, although, and even though. They are similar in meaning and they are used to show two contrasting ideas. Two contrasting ideas means two ideas which are different to each other. It means दो विरोधी चीज़ें जो हैं, दो विरोधी आइडियाज जो हैं, उनको प्रेजेंट करने के लिए हम इन वर्ड्स का यूज़ करते हैं. But the most important thing that you have to keep in your mind here it is that these two words in spite of and despite they are prepositions, while though, although and even though they are conjunctions. अब इसमें क्या अंतर हुआ कि ये prepositions हैं और ये conjunctions हैं. It means in spite of and despite इनके बाद हम phrase लगाते हैं और though, although and even though are followed by a clause. And now what is the difference between phrase and clause? Phrase means a group of words and clause means also a group of words. Phrase के पास अपना subject और अपनी verb नहीं होता है, जबकि clause के पास अपना subject और अपनी verb होता है. That is the basic difference. So now have a look at these examples and these examples will make everything clear to you. So look at the first one. In spite of the rain, she walked to the station. So look at here, in spite of the rain, that is a phrase. ये phrase है. She walked to the station. So there are two ideas. One idea is it was raining. Then she walked to the station. बारिश हो रही थी, इसके बावजूद भी वो वॉक करते हुए स्टेशन तक गई. इट मीन्स टू कंट्रास्टिंग आइडियाज आर बीइंग प्रेजेंटेड हियर. सो इन स्पाइट ऑफ द रेन ये फ्रेज है क्योंकि इस फ्रेज के पास अपना सब्जेक्ट और अपनी वर्ब नहीं है. सिमिलरली इन स्पाइट ऑफ कैन बी रिप्लेस्ड बाय डेस्पाइट, बट डेस्पाइट इज नॉट फॉलोड बाय ऑफ. डेस्पाइट ऑफ नहीं है, ओनली डेस्पाइट द रेन शी वॉक टू द स्टेशन. So it means we can use in spite of as well as despite. One thing more here that you have to notice here, we can't say despite it was raining she walked to the station. We can't say this. This will be grammatically incorrect. क्यों incorrect होगा? Because despite is a preposition. It is not a conjunction. So it cannot be followed by a clause. It was raining क्या हो गया? It was raining is a clause because its subject है, was verb है. तो डेस्पाइट के बाद क्लॉज नहीं लगा सकती, डेस्पाइट के बाद फ्रेज ही लगाएंगे. दैट्स व्हाई दिस सेंटेंस डेस्पाइट द रेन सी वॉक टू द स्टेशन, दिस सेंटेंस इज राइट एंड वी कैन नॉट से दिस सेंटेंस इन ए क्लॉज. इस सेंटेंस को हम क्लॉज में नहीं कह सकते. डेस्पाइट इट वॉज रेनिंग सी वॉक टू द स्टेशन कैन नॉट बी सेड, नहीं कहा जा सकता, गलत होगा. नाउ हैव अ लुक एट अदर एग्जांपल्स ऑफ दो, ऑल्दो एंड इवन दो. एक्चुअली दो, although and even though are conjunctions and they are followed by a clause और इनके बाद clause लगेगा. Just as in this sentence you find although it was raining she walked to the station. Although it was raining it means it's a clause, adverb clause, and she walked to the station that is the main clause. ये main clause है और इसके साथ यहाँ adverb clause लगा हुआ है. It means though, although and even though they are conjunctions of एडवर्ब क्लॉज. ये एडवर्ब क्लॉज में यूज होते हैं. ऑल्दो एंड दो आर इंटरचेंजेबल, आप इनको एक दूसरे से इंटरचेंज कर सकते हैं. डिफरेंस लाइज ओनली हियर. ऑल्दो इज इनफॉर्मल वाइल दो इज लेस फॉर्मल. इवन दो, when we use even though is used to show emphasis. When we want to give stress on our words, when we want to give stress on the surprising fact, then we use even though. Even though it was raining she walked to the station. It means though, although and even though are similar, only difference is in their use. Though and although are interchangeable and even though is used when we want to give stress. Have a look at some more examples. In spite of having enough money he refused to buy a new house. Two contrasting ideas are being shown here. Next example, in spite of can be changed by despite. Despite having enough talent he couldn't get success in his career. The same sentence, ये same sentence simple sentence है, we can change it into a clause. हम इसको clause में change कर सकते हैं. Although he had enough talent. It means the phrase is here, despite having enough talent, can be changed into although he had enough talent, he couldn't get success in his career. And if you want to give stress on your words, this although can be changed into even though. Although को हम even though में change कर सकते हैं. So let's have some more examples to get some more clear idea. First we take examples of in spite of and despite. In spite of and despite are prepositions that I have already told you, and they must be followed by noun, gerund or pronoun. It means prepositional phrase बनाना है, clause नहीं बनाएंगे. They must be followed by noun, gerund or pronoun. Look at the example. Despite the rain, we enjoyed the festival. We enjoyed the festival despite the rain. It means we can change the order. This makes no difference at all in the structure of the sentence. So either you can say despite the rain we enjoyed the festival, or you can say we enjoyed the festival despite the rain. In spite of the pain in his leg, he completed the race. Two ideas are here, two contrasting ideas, और ये simple sentence है क्योंकि इसमें हमने यहाँ phrase use किया है. Despite having pain in his leg, he completed the race. Despite is not followed by of. Another thing that may be confusing for some students, they are also used, it means in spite of and despite, they are also used with the expression the fact that. जब हम इनको इस expression के साथ use करेंगे the fact that, it means now it will be followed by a clause. तब ये clause होगा क्योंकि ये phrase तो यहाँ पर हो गया in spite of the fact. In spite of the fact ये phrase हो गया और ये clause इसमें noun clause has been added, that is that he worked very hard. ये noun clause है. तो ये noun clause हमने किसके बाद लगाया है? The fact के बाद. In spite के बाद नहीं है. In spite of the fact पूरा क्या होगा? ये prepositional phrase हुआ. And the clause is here, that is noun clause, that he worked very hard. So that may be confusion, but you don't get confused with that. It means if we are going to follow in spite of and despite after the fact that, तब आप क्योंकि that लगा दिया conjunction हो गया और conjunction के बाद क्या होगा? Conjunction will be followed by a clause. Conjunction के बाद clause लगेगा. He, subject, worked, verb. So in spite of the fact that he worked very hard, he couldn't pass the exam. Despite the fact that he worked very hard, he couldn't pass the exam. So don't get confused here. It means in spite of and despite are prepositions and they are followed by a phrase. यहाँ पर हमने in the last two examples, in spite of the fact that he worked very hard, he couldn't pass the exam. Actually, it is followed by a clause. But clause कौन सा है? That के बाद, क्योंकि conjunction यहाँ क्या लगा दिया हमने? That लगा दिया. Alright, so move ahead. Now we will take some examples of though, although and even though. And they go before a clause. It means clause से पहले लगा देते हैं या इसके बाद clause लगाना होता है. Though and although are interchangeable. Though is informal in use and although and though are interchangeable. Difference only, आप दो भी लगा सकते हैं, although भी लगा सकते हैं, but most of the time we use although because it is formal situation. ये formal है and though is less formal. That's why it is used as the situations are different. One is informal and another one is formal. And even though, when do we use even though? Even though is used to show emphasis, certain feelings, stronger form of although, emphatic form of although. Although की जो emphatic form है, that is even though. So have a look at this example. Although I tried my level best, I couldn't win the race. Two surprising ideas are given here, two different contrasting ideas are given here. और एक contrasting idea के साथ हमने क्या लगाया है? Although. It is replaceable. It is interchangeable with though. यहाँ हम though भी use कर सकते हैं, but it would be less formal. ये less formal होगा, informal होगा. Now, another example. Although we don't agree, I think she is a brilliant speaker. Although can be replaced by though. Even though we don't agree, if we want to give stress, अगर आप stress देना चाहते हैं, then we although can be changed by even though. Even though we don't agree, I think she is a brilliant speaker. Even though the exam was quite easy, he couldn't pass. That's a good example. Even though the exam was quite ezy. Exam तो बहुत easy था, he couldn't pass, he failed. फिर भी वो फेल हो गया. Exam was quite easy. It means स्ट्रेस डाल रहे हैं हम, एम्फेटिक सिचुएशन क्रिएट कर रहे हैं कि इवन दो द एग्जाम वाज क्वाइट इजी, एनीबडी कुड हैव पास्ड बट ही फेल्ड. So emphasis showing surprise, surprising elements are being shown here. And another one is here, that is use of though. Though is used in an informal way, and it is used, it can even be used at the last of the sentence. Sentence की last में भी use हो जाता है. We went to school together. I haven't seen her for years though. It means less formal, informal way of talking. In our daily conversation, we often use this. So I hope this thing would have been very much clear to you, that in spite of and despite are prepositions, while though, although, and even though are conjunctions. So I hope you like this video, and if you like this video, don't forget to share and subscribe. Thank you. Happy learning. Thanks for watching.